We are following breaking news. A postal worker robbed in the middle of the day at gunpoint. What we know about the search for the suspect.
Also, as a court case decides the fate of a troubled Buckhead lounge after a deadly double shooting on Mother's Day, we'll tell you why 1145's owner was escorted out during today's hearing in handcuffs.
And we are back to school, back to early morning traffic. What's that going to look like for your afternoon ride home?
Plus, those feels like temperatures up to 105 right now. First day of school letting out. We'll talk about how hot it'll feel for your Friday.
And good afternoon and welcome to 11Alive News at 4. I'm Jonathan Martin.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. We are tracking some dangerous temperatures as your kids are heading back to school all across Metro Atlanta. Let's send things over now to meteorologist Melissa Nord for your 11Alive weather impact alert.
And the heat tomorrow, equally as hot, equally as humid as was today. So that's why we got issued another 11Alive weather impact alert for the day tomorrow. So again, we're talking about temperatures up around 95, 96 degrees tomorrow afternoon. You add the humidity on top of that, and it's going to feel like it is in the triple digits again for our Friday afternoon. So another 11Alive weather impact alert. And outside right now, with the lack of thunderstorms here in the metro, these temperatures are noticeably hotter, but also it feels a whole lot hotter than it did yesterday at this time. Currently 94 in Atlanta. Feels like 105 degrees outside because that incredibly humid tropical air on top of us. 104 Peachtree City, LaGrange is 105. And 104 for that feels like temperature in Athens right now. We still have our heat advisory until 9 o'clock this evening. I know it was the first day of school for 21 different counties and school districts here across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. As kids get off the bus today, they want to play outside. Best to wait a few hours until we get closer to, say, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, and that's when those feels like temperatures will start to come down a little bit. I'm also tracking a couple of isolated thunderstorms this evening, but those have been across northeastern Georgia. So this is I-85. You're just traveling up through Banks County and up into Elbert County as well. We've got some of those thunderstorms producing heavy rain and some lightning, but no warnings at the moment there. So forecast temperatures by tomorrow afternoon, once again, going to be up in the triple digits. They have not issued a heat advisory yet from the Weather Service, but I would expect we would end up seeing part of our area in a heat advisory again. So bus stop, thinking ahead. It's day number 2 of school tomorrow. And just like today, send the kids out the door with water bottles. Not all school buses have air conditioning on them. I did speak to Atlanta Public Schools today, and their officials told me about 70% of the school buses for the city of Atlanta do have air conditioning. The other ones will have those windows rolled down in the afternoons to allow for airflow to go. In the morning, 70s out the door for the bus stop. That feels like temperature up in the 90s as soon as about 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll talk about that and when we could see rain chances this weekend. That's ahead in your full forecast.
All right, Melissa, we'll see you then. Thank you so much. We are following some breaking news at this hour. Atlanta police investigating after a postal worker was robbed in broad daylight in Buckhead this afternoon.
Let's get straight over to 11Alive's Bobeth Yates live in Buckhead near the scene at Peachtree Road and Far Road. So, Bobeth, what do we know tonight about the suspect?
Well, Jonathan, it was some very scary moments here off Far Road in Buckhead as residents are reeling after an attempted robbery of that UPS carrier, or USPS carrier. Now, it all happened in this alleyway right behind me. Officials say an armed suspect wearing a yellow shirt walked up to that USPS postal carrier and took her keys at gunpoint as she was trying to deliver a package. Then a passerby who witnessed the entire ordeal opened fire on that suspected robber. The two then exchanged fire. Then the suspected robber ran off on foot with a yellow shirt. That caused officials to just kind of lock down this area. Area condos had to be placed on lockdown, and now APD and others are looking into this matter, trying to figure out exactly who that suspect was. Now, again, we're not giving much details, but residents we spoke to say they're just completely shocked. And of course, we'll bring more details about what residents are saying in our later newscast. As for now, again, officials say a suspect that was wearing a mask and a yellow shirt left the scene after attempting to rob an USPS postal carrier at gunpoint. Now, officials again are still investigating this and will continue to be out here to bring you updates. Live in Buckhead, Bobeth Yates, 11Alive News.
All right, Bobette, thank you. 4:05, Crash Clark here with you this morning. We saw a little bit of an earlier crowd take to the roads back to school. A lot of big districts, Cobb, Marietta, Henry County, Bartow. We know APS back to school. Here's a live look showing your already crowded downtown connector. Pretty standard stuff, though. I don't think we have to mix in too many school buses, right? Well, especially at 4 o'clock. Hopefully not. Right now, though, you're looking at a pretty quiet start as far as folks filing into Midtown. You see that 85 ride, standard stuff, making that merge into Midtown. Stays heavy on the southbound and the northbound side. Nothing catastrophic, no big wrecks, no big stalls. Going to give you condition red, about 20 minutes on either side of the connector, depending on which way you're traveling. So enjoy that sunshine. I know it's awfully hot out there, but a slow trickle heading through downtown. Jennifer?
All right, Crash, thank you so much. A shocking moment in the middle of a court hearing in Fulton County. The owner of a Buckhead lounge where 2 people died in a shooting on Mother's Day was arrested for failing to appear in court in another case. It all happened during a hearing today with the city of Atlanta suing the 1145 lounge to permanently shut it down. Now, the owner, DeJabril Daffy, was in the middle of making the case of why the lounge should remain open when Judge Rachel Carnsale stopped the proceeding and said that the businessman had a bench warrant.
So it's a failure to appear in Superior Court Non-Complex on the bench warrant numbers 23 SC 191727. It's not this court's bench warrant, but I have to effectuate it. I can't let you leave.
The judicial hold order was issued by Superior Court Judge Nancy Mao on May 28th, just 16 days after the fatal shooting that claimed 2 lives at his nightclub. Duffy was taken into custody on charges of identity theft, theft by taking, and theft by deception from an incident in 2022. Now, he was allowed to remain in court for the afternoon, but chose not to return. The judge said he will spend the night in jail. So far, several officers have been called to the stand, with one saying the department has been called out to the club hundreds of times.
In the last year, from May 2023 to May of 2024, roughly 270 calls for service. About 200 of those were self-initiated.
Have any of the calls for service been violent criminal activity?
Yes.
And can you tell me the nature of those calls?
We've received calls regarding people shot and people that were killed at the location.
Lawyers for the defense argue most of the crimes that happen aren't taking place inside the club, but outside in the parking lot or nearby. Testimony in the hearing is expected to continue through Friday.
An arrest has now been made in connection to a shooting where a teen was killed and another man was injured. The suspect is now being charged with aggravated assault. 16-year-old Andre Fortson was shot and killed Tuesday night on Boulder Crest Road in DeKalb County. Investigators say the incident happened after 2 groups started shooting at each other. Police have not said if Andre was involved. Now, Andre's older brother, U.S. Airman Roger Fortson, you may remember, was shot and killed back in May by a Florida sheriff's deputy.
The body of a missing boater in Heard County has now been recovered. Officials identifying him as 27-year-old Brandon Scott Jones of Noonan. Jones was reported missing Tuesday night after witnesses saw a boat circling without an operator on the Chattahoochee River. Officials have been searching the river since then, but said that a high river and cloudy water made the search more difficult. Jones's body was found just after 10 this morning. Officials say that foul play is not suspected at this time. The 2-month-old at the center of an Amber Alert has been found safe now. Sandy Springs police say Rhea Clark was abducted yesterday from a hotel in Sandy Springs by her father, Randy Bernard Clark. Authorities say he turned himself in earlier today. At this time, there is no other information about the case from police.
Well, with less than 100 days until the November election, former President Donald Trump is still, facing backlash after comments he made in front of black journalists. The former president sat down for a panel at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference in Chicago on Wednesday, claiming his presidency was a success for black Americans and also falsely attacking Vice President Kamala Harris on her ethnicity.
She was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Trump's appearance at that event sparking controversy and also leading to the co-chair of the conference to step down from her role. Georgia U.S. Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock says this is just another way the former president is attempting to sow division in the country.
Whether it's trying to separate brown people from black people, trying to somehow lift up part of Kamala Harris's identity over against the other part, as if she has to choose, as if we have to choose between who we embrace. I mean, it's a very narrow, bigoted, short-sighted vision. Is who he is.
Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance are set to deliver remarks at a rally in Atlanta on Saturday. Then, nearly a week later, VP Harris and her yet-to-be-named running mate will make a stop in Savannah.
This week, the Secretary of State's office rolled out a new website allowing users to cancel their voter registration. But a glitch during the rollout allowed people to access voter-sensitive information like driver's license numbers and the last two numbers of a person's social security number.
That's right, and the Secretary of State's office says the problem was fixed after an hour. But should you still be concerned? 11Alive's Karis Belger spoke with a cybersecurity expert to get some answers.
The new system for canceling voter registration is now causing concern.
There's a problem there. It's a collective failure here, and that concerns me because we should not be having this basic type of failure with a system that goes into production.
The Secretary of State's office confirmed to 11Alive Thursday a glitch in the system allowed a user's driver's license number and the last four digits of a social security number to be visible for about an hour during the initial rollout. Kennesaw State University's cybersecurity researcher Andrew Green says this is a concern, but not in the way people may think.
Data being exposed in general is a bad thing, but the particular bits of data that were mentioned in the coverage I've seen so far are already out there and available, depending on if you know where to look or not.
His worry is for the local election workers at the county level who may have to confirm the information.
If I wanted to do this in such a way to create maximum havoc, I would wait till pretty close to the election to start canceling those voter registration records for the simple fact of it creates pressure and stress on an already overworked workforce at the county level.
I reached out to the Secretary of State's office and received a statement which said in part, the error was detected and fixed within an hour. Just because bad actors would be easy to detect doesn't mean we don't also take steps to prevent them acting. Green says this doesn't mean there won't be concern down the road.
At a particular moment in time where they made that statement, they were not aware of anybody who may have been harmed by that leak, but they can't tell what's going to happen with that data in the future.
In Atlanta, Karis Belger, 11Alive News.
Tonight, the iconic Atlanta landmark Lenox Square is marking a 65-year milestone as the Southeast's premier shopping destination. Located in Buckhead, the center officially opened in 1959 and welcomes 35 million shoppers each and every year. To celebrate the milestone, the shopping center is hosting a series of events and activities to honor its rich history and contributions to the community throughout the month of August.
This is an iconic landmark here in our city, in our state, and really in our entire southeastern region of the United States. It really is the United States Southeast fashion hub and retail hub. And so for 65 years, we've had upscale shopping experiences here for residents and visitors alike. It's been a catalyst for, like I said, the economic development around this region. And it creates millions of dollars of revenue that goes into our communities.
Yeah, my family members always wanted to visit Lenox. So right now, Lenox Square is hosting a social media contest. Participants can enter for a chance to win a $1,000 shopping spree. The contest runs until August 31st.
Well, the King Center announced their plans to celebrate today as they look ahead to the King's 100th birthdays. We're talking about Dr. King. He would have celebrated his 100th in 2029 and his wife, Coretta Scott King, in 2027. So the center's 5-year plan includes a capital campaign to expand the King Center facilities and to add some new technology into the exhibits, plus a global music series that will lead up to a centennial celebration. It'll be a concert here in Atlanta. That concert is set to feature musicians from all over the world. And finally, the King Center is planning a series of programs and initiatives focused on Dr. King's teachings and legacy.
Former President Jimmy Carter is getting a star-studded centennial birthday party. Mr. Carter, the oldest living American president, will turn 100 on October 1st. The Carter Center says it will host a birthday bash at Atlanta's historic Fox Theater on September 17th. Now, musical acts include country artist Eric Church, Allman Brothers Band member Chuck Leavell, and Maren Morris. The event will also feature appearances by actor Sean Penn and Atlanta Braves legend Dale Murphy. Tickets are $100 in honor of Carter's 100th birthday. They'll go on sale Monday, August 5th.
And you know that is going to be a sold-out event.
It will. So many people love President Carter. So a lot of folks will want to shower him with that.
And I'm sure Plains, Georgia is going to have its own celebration too.
Exactly. We will have to keep y'all updated on what's going on everywhere for the former president.
All right, we do have to get to a weather impact alert, so let's turn back to meteorologist Melissa Nord.
It is sizzling hot out there, and the heat keeps on going Friday and even into the weekend. So I know we had a really wet pattern setting up for several weeks. Now we're kind of drying things out, heating things up. Right now, this is a live look over Truist Park. We've got a 7:20 first pitch tonight. Currently feels like 105 degrees out at the ballpark right now. If you are heading to that 7:20 first pitch, you can bring in a full-size water bottle as long as it's closed, and you can also bring in some of those little mister fans with you, those little handheld fans. Those are all great ideas. Stay in the shade if you're going out there this evening. Temperatures at first pitch going to be in the upper 80s and low 90s, and it'll still feel like it is in the upper 90s, and then we'll fall back there into the 80s. So first day of school, got a ball game this evening. Maybe you're doing some Olympics watching outside with the outdoor TV. It's going to be hot outside. It's a good pool evening overall because we haven't had as many storms popping up this afternoon as we have over the last week. Look at this. We've still got a couple of showers and thunderstorms across kind of the I-85 corridor in northeast Georgia. But big picture, we're on the outskirts of this heat dome, and the heat is going to dominate the weather story here heading into our Friday. And that's why we've issued another 11Alive weather impact alert. You can see all the heat advisories, high heat warnings, excessive heat warnings for tomorrow. Our heat advisory continues until 9 o'clock this evening. They haven't issued one for tomorrow. It's going to be equally as hot. The humidity may come down just a little bit, keeping us away from that heat advisory criteria. But this map right here shows you the heat risk on your body. This is the number of days that we've been this hot, the number of days we've been this hot and humid outside. And we can see in this red color for Atlanta tomorrow, those are major impacts expected. So if you're going to be out tomorrow afternoon, kids get off the bus tomorrow, make sure that they're staying hydrated, stepping indoors, being in the AC. And then Saturday and Sunday, we'll see those numbers coming down just a little bit, keeping the heat less excessive. So for tomorrow, our weather impact alert is going to run from late morning through the evening. We're expecting the heat index again in some areas to be over 100 degrees. So take breaks and stay hydrated. Forecast track this evening shows those few isolated showers and storms. We'll keep those around through early on this evening. And then overnight tonight, we'll stay mostly quiet. Tomorrow morning starts humid for the bus stop, but dry. As we get into the afternoon with that daytime heating, a few isolated showers and storms may develop. But again, tomorrow, not everybody sees the rain. So we'll all feel the heat. Very few of us feel the rain, and those rain chances set about 30% tomorrow. And that's how they'll stay into the weekend as well. So starting off in the 70s for the bus in the morning, noontime, right around 90 degrees. But at that point, it'll feel like it's in the mid 90s to upper 90s. In the late afternoon, I've got a 30% chance of showers and storms. High temperature 96. It's going to feel like it's around 103 here tomorrow afternoon in Atlanta. Now, while we're tracking fewer storms here through the weekend, we're tracking a developing storm system that could develop here in the tropics. This is Invest 97L. You see in this red shaded color, that's the area it's generally expected to head through the weekend and early next week. And if it develops, okay, this is something we have to watch. You notice spaghetti models are steering it up towards the Big Bend of Florida. Some of it take it more towards the east side of Florida. Some of it take it out towards the Gulf. But that's one of those systems where as we get into this time of year, we have a lot of warm waters expected. If it takes the right path, it could bring tropical moisture in our direction. But if it takes a track east of us, it sends dry air in our direction. It means we see less in the way of rain chances. And you notice that on our 7-day forecast here. We've got our weather impact alert for tomorrow with a high of 96, feeling like it's above 100 degrees. 30% rain chances over the weekend. Monday would be the day we see some influence from that developing tropical system, depending on its track. And then right now looks like we'll have dry air on the backside of that system later on next week. Crash.
All right, Melissa, appreciate that. I vote for less rain. That's just me. Hey, you know, Melissa was just talking about those feel-like temperatures. temperatures in the triple digits. This is a live look at I-75 in Marietta. I don't think a lot of folks are hurrying out to the ballpark to do any early tailgating. It is awfully warm out there, but you saw those cars moving. We'll take that. 75 if you're heading home through Marietta. Of course, Marietta and Cobb schools back in the classroom as of this morning, but it's not a rough commute. In fact, 15 minutes if you're rolling up through Marietta from the perimeter to Baird Parkway. No worries on 400 just yet. Leaving Sandy Springs and Roswell out to Alpharetta, about a 20-minute ride, and about 20 minutes on I-85 from 285 all the way up towards 316. Give you another live look right there. That is I-75, and it is absolutely wide open. Back to you guys.
All right, Crash. Well, school is back in session for many students across Metro Atlanta, including Atlanta Public Schools. And as the kids return to the classroom, APS is looking for more people to help safely get students to class. The district looking for 32 bus drivers, and it's actually a better situation than they've faced in recent years. Like other school districts, APS has struggled to maintain a full staff of bus drivers. Last November, the district was short 44 drivers. This year, several drivers are in training, preparing to cut into a shortage that is much smaller. The head of recruiting at APS says financial incentives for drivers has made her job easier.
Seeing a great turnout of candidates and interest at our hiring events. And we're also seeing where individuals, the longevity of individuals within the role.
Now, Cherokee, Gwinnett, and Clayton counties say they are opening school with a full staff. DeKalb is currently short 75 bus drivers. The situation much more challenging in Fulton County with 133 driver vacancies. The district says it is working to ensure all routes are covered using combination routes and double runs as necessary.
Well, in Marietta, one elementary school is welcoming students back with a bit of a twist.
Yeah, instead of spending the first week on the rules and the procedures, Lockheed Elementary is hosting its own Olympic Games. 11Alive's Grace King explains why they are trying something new.
They're just trying to lift you up. Ain't that right, kids?
At Lockheed Elementary, the first day of school began with an opening ceremony.
We watched 3 videos of people that played in the Olympics, and then we did this chant.
Fifth graders Kaden and Gabrielle were thrilled to be back.
I am one of the big kids of the whole school, so all the little kids look up to me.
The key now is keeping that excitement.
Typically, you come to school and you're excited, you can't wait, and you start with learning about rules and procedures, and it's a little boring.
Dr. Tricia Patterson is principal at Lockheed Elementary. She hopes the Olympic Games will set the tone for the rest of the school year.
Part of the issues with attendance is if they're not excited about their teacher and their friends that are in their class and who they're going to see in the hallways, they don't necessarily want to come to school. So we want to kind of burn that fire to get them excited about being here every day.
The library featured medal making and Olympic coloring sheets, while the gym hosted track and field style events.
We took the themes that happen at the Olympics and sort of transferred them to anything that we needed to do for our students the first 2 days of school.
And within the first few hours, teachers like Hannah Kronauer had already noticed a gold medal winning difference.
Normally it's kind of more mixed feelings, some anxiety and nervousness, but it's cool to see them all just get excited to do fun things all day.
In Marietta, Grace King, 11Alive News.
All right, so here at 11Alive, we are kicking things off this school year, helping set Fulton County students up for success. So 11Alive is partnering with Heritage Elementary School and McNair Middle School to help fulfill their Amazon wish list. If you use your phone, just scan the QR code right there on the screen. It will take you right to the lists. These items help ensure the students are starting the year off on the right foot. So the drive runs through August 23rd. So consider donating and help make it a great school year for these kids.
Our students need the basic supplies. Heritage Elementary School serves a great number of students and families that are unsheltered. So these supplies are paramount to their success and just something that the parents don't have to be concerned about.
All right, so if you can help, please do. The drive again runs through August 23rd.
Well, welcome to the start of August, which, if you're a dog fan, means Georgia football is back on the practice field. Reggie Chapman has more on the state of the team from Athens.
It's the fun part of what we do. We're not out there running. We're not out there swinging the weight around. It's football. We get to go play football. That's what we're here for. It's what we do.
With fall camp officially kicking off on Thursday, there's plenty of excitement surrounding this Georgia football team, especially because once again, it feels like national championship or bust for this group. But the big news coming out on Thursday during head coach Kirby Smart's first press conference of the year is that wide receiver Ra Thomas, who was arrested just last week, has been dismissed from the team.
Had a chance to sit down and meet with him face to face and let him know that he can no longer be a part of the football team. And he understands that, and we wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
Thankfully, head coach Kirby Smart feels confident in the rest of that wide receiver group, as well as the guy that's going to be throwing them the football. Quarterback Carson Beck back for another season after leading the Dogs to a 13-1 campaign in his first season as a starter, hoping to take the next step in 2024.
When he speaks, people are going to listen. He's our starting quarterback, and I think every team needs their starting quarterback to have some sort of voice, and him stepping up as he has, and it's been big, and people listen when he talks.
He comes in every day and just beats himself. He never changes. He's never going to not be clean cut and tell you what you did right or what you did wrong. As a teammate, you can always fall on him because he's going to be the same person.
There was a lighthearted moment during the press conference where Coach Smart was asked about his son Andrew, who pitched earlier today in a Little League World Series regional game. He used that moment to say how proud he was of his kids and that he was excited to be able to spend the amount of time he could over the last month. Now Coach Smart has to turn the page as his team is preparing for their Week 1 matchup with Clemson set for August 31st. Covering the Georgia Bulldogs from here in Athens, I'm Reggie Chapman, 11 Live Sports.
Okay, right now, a live look at Truist Park, where the Braves will host the Florida Marlins tonight. And for those who can't make it out there tonight, Xfinity customers can watch the ball game on Bally Sports. Now, earlier this week, Comcast and Diamond Sports Group finally reached a deal ending a month-long dispute that kept Bally Sports off Xfinity.
The track and field trials kicked off at the Paris Olympics just hours ago, and our Faith Jesse is getting an inside look at how the athletes get ready for the track.
Team USA track and field getting ready to hit the track and field Olympic style this week. And we're getting a look at the team behind Team USA at the High Performance Center in Paris.
During training, they'll get a whole bunch of tightness, and depending on what movements that they're doing.
Yeah, so trainer Harris Patel, who you just heard from, he actually lives in Atlanta. A couple of the folks you heard from live in Atlanta. Pretty cool, right? And he tells me that these athletes, they'll be doing their last hard workouts at HPC, the High Performance Center, before resting and hitting the Olympic venue for their events. And we are certainly hoping that they bring home some hardware.
And tonight we're talking with an Olympian and the last gold medalist for the U.S. to win the women's 100 meters. 11Alive's Brittany Kleinpeter met with Gail Devers at the track in Lawrenceville, where she now coaches high school athletes.
From her nails to her Uggs.
I always tell people it's a Gail thing. You don't have to understand.
Everything about U.S. Olympian Gail Devers is rare.
I went in my archive just for you, and I pulled out this, which was my very first uniform that I earned in 1988.
The last U.S. Olympian to win the women's 100 meters in 1996.
That makes me feel really, really old.
Has battled hurdles both on and off the track.
During that time, I was having problems with my eyes.
Being diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder called Graves' disease in 1992, just 2 years before winning her first gold medal.
My vision was blurry. I had to learn to run in rhythm.
Years later, she would also be diagnosed with thyroid eye disease.
I had pain in my eyes. They were bulging.
But with a heart of gold, she's living proof that your circumstances never have to define you.
Everything that I did in track and field, that dedication, that discipline, that never give up attitude, you take that to life, it correlates just the same.
And tonight, as she gets ready to cheer on the athletes that have come after her.
And everybody knows it's time for us to take it back, and I think this is going to be the year that we do it.
She's hoping another will make a run for it.
And for everybody to do their best, and if they do their best, that's good enough.
Brittany Kleinpeter, 11Alive News.
This is so cool. All right, final check of your forecast. Again, we have another 11Alive weather impact alert for our Friday for high heat and humidity. 96 the high. It's going to feel like it's around 103 in the afternoon here in Atlanta. Isolated storms all the way through the weekend. Watching the tropics early next week.
All right, thank you so much. And before we go, we do want to point out some programming changes. The Olympics are preempting 11Alive News weekdays and weekends.
And while the games are on TV, you can get the latest on big local stories and weather 24/7 through our streaming app, 11Alive Plus. During the week, we'll be on each morning from 4:30 to 7 and streaming at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Then we're back on the air at 6 p.m. and again for 11 Alive News at 11 following Olympics in prime time.
Now 11 Alive News is also watching dozens of athletes from Georgia competing. Our Cheryl Preheim and Faith Jesse are in Paris telling their stories. Their reports will be featured during our 2 Olympic specials airing Monday through Saturday. The All Access Pass is at 7, followed by the Olympic Zone tonight at 7:30.
Thanks so much for being with us. Remember, the news is always on 11alive.com and inside our 11 Alive News app. Have a great day.